River City Podcast Federation.
Welcome back to Laughing in the Dark, the podcast where I hang out in haunted places with comedians. I'm your host, Sara Jones. This is another fixture in our Minisode series where I get to talk to you about your ghost stories. For this episode, I spoke to Mel from Portland, Oregon, about her experiences living in a terrifyingly haunted apartment. Here's the call.
Hello there.
Hi, is this Mel?
Yeah, this is Mel.
Hi, Mel. This is Sara Jones from Laughing in the Dark.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Good. A little bit tired and I have a little bit of a head cold, but I think I should be fine.
Oh, I've had that too. Allergies?
Oh, yeah, I think so. It's something in the sinuses that's up in there. I've got like a sniffle and some coughing going on.
Oh, that's not fun. So do you want to tell listeners a little bit about yourself? Just introduce yourself.
Oh yeah, so I wasn't aware we were already recording. Hi there, my name is I'm Mel Paradise. I'm an artist from Portland, Oregon, and I work the whole convention scene here. So Comic Cons, video game expos. I do freelance art, visual. I'm mostly known for my perler bead work, which perler bead are these like tiny little plastic beads that you put onto these pegboards and iron together, and I make characters and stuff out of those. And I also sew, so I make like custom plush toys and painted vinyl toys, and I also do like gallery shows and stuff. Basically, any work that comes my way, I'm like an artist for hire, and I take whatever gigs happen to find me, and so that's how I live. It's pretty fun.
That's
you
so
to travel
cool.
around and stuff.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, meet lots of cool people and run into a lot of weird situations.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place, and when you're out in the world experiencing it, there's always something interesting to see. So I just put myself out there.
That is so
learn
cool.
and grow and do all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're doing something you love. That's awesome.
Oh, absolutely. And I think other people love it too. You know, what we do inspires like other people to get creative and tap into their own, I guess, abilities and stuff. And that's really cool.
Yeah, that is way cool. Very, very cool. So did you have a ghost story for me then?
Okay, yeah, actually, well, let me start this off by saying I just this last weekend moved into a new apartment on the 5th floor. Short history, I moved to Portland about 5 years ago, and I spent 3 years in a small studio on the 3rd floor in the same building, and then it came time to where I had an opportunity to where I could expand a little bit, and I was like, well, I don't really need the space, but it would be nice to have that extra space, and I have the funds right now to do it, so I decided to transfer to a one-bedroom apartment. There were only two options available to move into. One was an apartment on the 1st floor in this apartment, which I'll come back to because that's the one that I chose, or one that was closer to the train tracks. And I wasn't about to choose that one because I wasn't going to deal with all that noise, because my work, I require a lot of focus and quiet time, so I can't have like trains blasting in my face all day. So
yeah.
I chose the apartment in this building on the 1st floor, and I knew before that it had somewhat of a shady history. No one said anything about ghosts, though, so that's kind of like what threw me off. So I moved into the one-bedroom apartment on the 1st floor, and immediately, Okay, sorry, I'm lost a little bit. Okay, let me back up for a second.
No,
the past that apartment had is that it was a former like a flop house. Basically, there was some shady people there, and they were like dealing drugs out of there, and it was like a druggy den place. But they cleaned it up real nice, and they re-rented it out after they had like SWAT teams come in and clean the place out. So it was like, okay, it's a little bit weird and shady, but you know, maybe I can bring some positive vibes into the space and you know, clean it up a little bit, you know, and keep neighborhood watch a little bit. And huge mistake. The first month that I was there were 3 attempted break-ins, and I had to like call security and call the cops, and it was like I had to like put a couch up against the patio is connected to the back room. There's like a front living room and one like room in the back, and that leads out to the patio. And so I had to like prop a couch up against the door there, which is way against fire code, you know, but just to make sure that I was kind of safe in there. And one of the managers here at the apartments explained to me that like those were people probably coming to like collect debts from the dude who they thought still lived there or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, that's scary and shady as it is, right?
Yeah.
But then other weird stuff started happening, and it kind of threw me off because I was already on edge as it was because of just it being kind of a shady environment, you know. Mm-hmm. But I have a few stories of different things because the thing is I studied the sciences. I studied psychology and sociology. Like those were my main fields of study, and I'm really into like biology. A lot of my paintings are based on like biological forms and stuff, like cells and muscle tissue and that sort of thing. And so, like, I never thought of, like, the paranormal. Like, I've always found, like, the more mystical side of things really interesting, but that's never been, like, my focus. It's not like, ooh, am I going to find a ghost today? You know, I know these, like, whole communities of people, like, that's their jam, you know? And, like, that's cool. I know some ghost hunters here in Portland, too. Portland's a hot spot for ghosts and spooks and apparently UFOs, too, someone told me.
Yeah.
So when these things started happening, it was very strange. It was very subtle things too, like I'd seen like I've heard of, you know, like light spots and like streaks of light and like weird stuff like that, and like that was the very first time. Like I'm getting chills on my arms just talking about it right now. But the very first time I ever experienced anything paranormal was in this particular apartment, and so there were like visual anomalies. There were like, you know, spots and shimmers, streaks and the shadows, I guess, like, you know, just stuff that seemed a little bit off or a little bit out of place, or like light wouldn't quite reflect right in the right ways in certain places, like, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, one of the weirdest things that I saw that I couldn't explain was, like, it looked like 3 strands of hair suspended in the air and, like, shining, and then, like, it disappeared, and it was the weirdest thing.
Whoa.
It was, like, so that's what I meant, like, by shimmers. It was almost like 3, like, if you could imagine, like, you know, when a spider drops down and leaves, like, a little strand, and you can kind of see it glistening in the light?
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Yeah. It was like 3 of those. It was like that times 3, like in a dark hall, and then it disappeared. And I was like, oh, well, that's freaking weird. I don't know. It was at night, so there wasn't like any weird light sources or anything, you know, especially being on the first floor. It's pretty dark down there. And then, let's see, I have my notebook in front of me. I actually kept notes because I was like, this is really weird. One of the first instances I had was back in January, and it was we started this joke about there being a ghost in the bathroom because there was a tub ghost. I wasn't feeling very well, and part of the therapy, I'd been sick this last year, and part of the therapy for some nausea I've been experiencing was like soaking in a hot tub with like minerals and stuff, you know. And so one night I was doing my soak, and I heard it was about to like fade off, like not sleeping, you know, but you know, when you get like relaxed, you just kind of close your eyes and doze off a little bit. I was kind of fading into that situation, and I heard like a snap against the side of the tub, and it wasn't just like the regular like crackling noise of the tub settling. It was like something smacking against the side of the tub, like 1, 2, really hard, and I like snapped out of my doze, and I was like, holy shit, what the fuck was that, you know?
Ooh,
and there was like nothing there. I was like, okay, that was kind of weird, and like, so I stayed there for like another minute, but I ended up getting out because I was like kind of spooked.
Yeah, well, you're so vulnerable too. Like laying in the tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, no. It was super scary. So I was like, but I was telling that story to a friend of mine, and a friend of mine was kind of in a depressed state of mind, and she's like, maybe that ghost won't let you die. I was like, yeah,
oh God,
probably. I mean, maybe it didn't want me to drown in the water. It thought I was going to fall asleep or something.
Yeah, it's like, hey, get up.
I don't know.
It's like a mom ghost.
Yeah.
So stop it.
Yeah, Mom Ghost, and Mom Ghost comes back here in a couple of stories. So,
oh wow!
Yeah, Mom Ghost comes back.
How long have you lived in this apartment?
That apartment I only lived in for I want to say 6 to 8 months. So less than a year I lived in that apartment because I just recently got my transfer and I moved last week.
Oh, okay. So the place that you are right now is not where these stories take place. Right?
No. I just moved out of there.
Okay, I'm just trying to.
All these stories take place in the middle of the one-story apartment. Yeah,
they take place over 6 months. Wow, that's actually a short amount of time to have so many ghost, phenomenon.
Yeah, and it's just really small stuff too, though. And I don't know if it's if it might have been because of the position of the apartment in the building, it was just a spot or something. But let's see. One of the other things that happened was missing objects. I'm a very organized and very tedious person. I run my own business, so my stuff has to be in order. Right. I make sure to put stuff back where it goes. Right.
Oh yeah.
There have been 2 occasions where I've lost items and then they've come back. Or I'm sorry, 3 occasions. See, so I have them all written down here, but they kind of all fall under the same category. So let's see, this one happened in February. I have butane for a torch that I use for some fire-related art projects. And I keep the butane in one spot. And I went to go grab it because I needed to fill the torch. And it wasn't in the spot where the butane goes. There's one spot where I put this one can of butane that I have, right? And so I looked around the apartment for 20 minutes, bathroom, kitchen, living room, etc. And then I couldn't find it. And then I came back to the spot and it was there. And I was just like, are you serious right now with this?
Oh my God.
So yeah, I searched all around and so it was there. And I was just like, okay. A similar situation. It was in that same area too, because it was all around this one shelf that was on this one side of the room. Another time I had 2 of the perler bead projects I had made in a basket. I was turning these they're video game sprites. I just call them sprites, right? Mm-hmm. I had 2 of these sprites and it was a little Pokemon Mudkip and a little Link from Zelda. And I had them sitting in this basket because I had run out of pins to glue them to and they were the 2 that were left. So
cute.
Put this basket up on the counter and I'm going through my stuff and I look over and one of the sprites is missing. And I'm like, I just had 2 sprites in there. And this time it really freaked me out. When the butane was missing, I was like, okay, no worries. Maybe it was just me being absent-minded, whatever.
Yeah.
But this time I was just like, this is a contained basket with 2 items in it. The other item isn't there. I got spooked. I left the apartment, went for a walk, and when I came back, it was there. And
weird.
That freaked me out.
Yeah.
I had to leave the apartment at that point because I was kind of freaked out about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a similar thing happened because it was on the first floor and there's a lot of people in and out. I keep a piece of tape over my peephole. And one night I came into the living room and the piece of tape had fallen off the peephole. And as I was walking into the bathroom, I had said out loud to myself, oh, the tape fell off the peephole. I'll replace that when I come back in. And I came back into the living room and that tape was back up on the hole. And I was just like, oh, no.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that happened February 28th is when that one happened. So, and then, let's see, what else do I have here?
Did you know it was February 28th because you wrote that in your diary? Or is that a significant day?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought you were it was my...
February 28th. No, I was just looking at the dates on my notes here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I kept them, I just wrote them in this notepad that I had, and I had one side for biz notes, and the other side I was like, okay, well, when weird stuff happens, I'm going to take notes, because I was thinking I could use it for writing creepypasta later.
Oh, there you go.
It turns out, but turns out I saw your guys' post, and I was like, oh, cool, yeah, I'll talk about it on a podcast. Heck yeah, because this is
okay.
weird and fun, and I'm into it.
I'm stoked you had the notes from it, too.
Yeah, because it's strange. Another thing that was strange too was one day there was like a mystery smell. I walked out into the hall and I smelled really strongly the smell of a wet dog. Ooh. And I don't own a dog, and neither of my immediate neighbors owned a dog at the time. And like all the doors and windows were closed, so it made no sense for it to smell like wet dog in my hallway.
Oh,
but
weird.
It smelled for like wet dog for like 2 minutes, and then it disappeared. Like the smell just gone.
Oh, that's.
But it was really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've noticed that the smell thing is really common. Like since I've started taking ghost story calls, like I'm kind of starting to notice like little things that are kind of like a trend almost, like, and a lot of times it's a smell of like a rancid smell, like rotten eggs or something like that.
Oh yeah, I was listening to the last guy's story about the window or whatever.
The one that came out today.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he had that in his too. That it smelled really significant. And then I did an episode at the Lewis and Clark College, and the ghost story I read about that one, they had a really strong smell coming from the basement there as well. It's I've heard that, and I've heard like smelling smoke sometimes, or seeing smoke that's not supposed to be there, stuff like that. It's just really interesting to see like the trends that come up, you know?
Oh yeah, and like smell is one of those things too that's really like tied to like memory and stuff. So it's weird that like that would be like a part of it, you know? Like maybe there's a part of our mind that we can't access to perceive the things around us that are there that aren't really there. Whatever beings that happen to be might know how to manipulate that in such a way that we can kind of get a whiff.
Well, and actually what you just said about a memory, that kind of sparks my imagination in a way, because like smell being so strongly attached to memory, isn't that what a ghost is it's a memory, you know?
Yeah, kind of, or like I feel like when people talk about ghosts and stuff, and I think about like mysticism and stuff, I feel like it's energy, it's vibes, you know. So it might not be like the personality per se, but like maybe the intent, you know, the energy that's just there.
Yeah, that
you
could
know,
be.
That's kind of.
So
so maybe if like an emotion, because like memory and emotions are really strongly tied.
Oh,
so maybe it's like maybe it's all just connected, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's an interesting perspective to take on it. I like it.
The other, the return of Ghost Mom. Yeah, so the last weird thing that happened to me before I left was, where is it? I have it on here. Let's see, that's Tub Ghost. Oh, it happened on May 8th. So May 8th is when the last thing happened. And it says here, I was lying on the couch and it was super quiet. And I was just kind of chilling on the couch, but then I heard like a loud sigh, like out of nowhere, like a loud, disembodied, disappointed sounding sigh. Like it sounded like a female woman, just like, and I'm just like, what?
Whoa.
And that was it. That's all that it was. I was just like, okay, that's freaking weird.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know, I'd laid down because I'd spent like the last 2 days working, and I have a problem with burning out. So it's hard for me to like rest in general. So I don't need these like spookies telling me I can't take a rest.
Yeah.
when I've been working my butt off. So
oh man, yeah.
I'm just like, you know. But yeah, so that's the last weird thing that happened, and I really didn't tell a whole lot of people about it because, like, to me, none of those things, like, it wasn't like the ghost, if it was a ghost or whatever, it's not like it was hurting anybody or like hurting me in any way, you know. But I did definitely feel like there was something there, like it was kind of creepy, and I not just because the attempted break-ins in that apartment, but just because I got a weird vibe, I used to stay out of the back room. Also, it was kind of noisy back there because it was like next to an elevator too. So that might have contributed to it. I don't know. Acoustics and weird cheap built buildings. I don't know. But But yeah, so I kind of like subconsciously, I guess, made a pact with the power that'd be like, hey, you can have this back room as long as you leave me alone in the front room. So the whole time, the whole like last 3 months I was living there, I just like only went to the back room to like put stuff away and like grab clothing, and like that was it. Like I kept everything in the back room, but I left the back room alone for the most part.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you felt like something just was always back there, kind of?
It felt like a very hostile energy. Like I'm not a very like negative person, but I feel like whatever was there, my experiences in that unit, whether it been from the people around or the spirits around, whatever it was, there was definitely some kind of like hostile energy there. That I could just feel like I can't be here. I don't need to be here. I shouldn't be here. I need to be somewhere else. And so I kept pushing till I got my transfer, and finally I did, and the new place was great, but still in the same building, so I'm hoping they don't like follow me up here. So.
Oh, I get it. So you're in the same building. You're just up on the 5th floor instead of the first floor.
Oh, yeah.
Now it makes sense. I'm sure that's everyone listening is like, fucking yeah, that's what she said at the beginning. But it took me a minute. Now I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck it. Everybody that knows me is confused too, because it's like, what are the chances that I'd get those apartments in the same apartment? But I've lived here for like ever, and I know the people who like run the apartments. So I'm like, okay, put me on the top of the list till I get one, because I'm not living in this crappy unit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you know who moved into the old unit, or did anyone move into that yet?
I'm not sure. Because I did bring it up to the like manager lady, and she kind of like sort of believes into that stuff, but I'm like, yeah, I'm sure they don't care because they're a real estate company. They're just gonna be like, get people in there quickly, whatever,
Like,
so I don't know if anybody's moved in there yet, but yeah. But I was like, when I went to go drop off the rest of the deposit on this unit, and I was talking to the people in the office, I was like, once I get all of my stuff moved out of that old apartment, you guys should try and like spend a couple nights in there. Like just a couple nights. Just go in there, before you have anybody else move in, have a little camp out party in that unit and see how it is.
Yeah. Or even like spend some time in that back room.
Yeah, exactly. In that corner room with a freaking elevator in the wall. That was the thing that drove me the most crazy. Like, I could deal with the spooks, but the elevator in the wall made so much noise.
Oh yeah, I could see
that. And that was the thing too, is like I could tell the difference between like building noises and like noises that aren't building noises. And I think that's kind of like amplified the creep factor for me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, and it's crazy too, because like at the beginning I was saying Portland's like a really like a paranormal hotspot of sorts. I have a friend whose mom does exercising, or I guess she exercises spirits from different various haunted locations around Portland. It's crazy cool. She's a hairdresser by day out in Camas, and then she comes into Portland on the nights and weekends and does ghost work, and so that's just really cool. And like my stuff, it sounds like it might sound cliche, like the stuff that I've mentioned, but like that's stuff that I've experienced the last like 6 months while I was there, and never before I moved to that apartment had I ever experienced any kind of paranormal anything.
No, it sounds really bizarre, especially the sigh. That it would totally.
Yeah, because it was just like pretty loud, I mean, my apartment was super quiet, and it's not like I could hear people outside very well, so it was really scary.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I'm glad I got out of that unit. There's no way I could have stayed there.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too. That sounds like it really worked out well for you.
Yeah, and because it was on the bottom floor too, it was really like dark down there too. Like there wasn't a lot of sunlight getting down to that area, so it was just consistently dark, which also made it a little bit spookier too. But now up on the top floor, it's all like bright and sunshiny. Well, sunshiny as it can be on a rainy Portland day.
Right. Oh, I know it. It was really pouring today.
Yeah. Right on. Is it okay if I plug my Kickstarter?
Oh, please do. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, all right. So, yeah, like I was saying, my name's Mel Paradise. I'm an artist. I am on Etsy, where you can find a large selection of geek craft, perler bead, pixel art, and retro video game characters, that sort of thing. We also have a line of adorable plushy sushi toys and pillows. They're sushi rolls with little faces on them, and you can customize them. It's kind of like Build-A-Bear, but with sushi. You can do that in my Etsy shop, and that's etsy.com/shop/Mel Paradise or melparadise.etsy.com. And we're also part of the Etsy wholesale program, so any gift shops or any shops that or consignment shops or anything like that that would be interested in carrying our sushi, we do have those available at a discounted price for you. So just give us an email or a message, and we'll hook you up with some awesome sushi friends.
Oh, that is so cool. Well, we will have to check that out.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mel. Have a great rest of your night.
Awesome. You too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for your stories, Mel. I'm glad you were able to get out of that creepy living space and into something that's hopefully a lot more comfortable for you. Be sure to check out Mel's Etsy shop at etsy.com/shop/melparadise to take a look at her cute sushi pillows and other awesome crafts. Do you have a great ghost story that you want to tell me about? We want to hear from you. Email the details of your story to litdarkpodcast@gmail.com. We may want to put you on the show. If you love this show, please be sure to subscribe, like, comment, share. If you listen to us on iTunes and feel so inclined, give us a 5-star review and let us know what you love about this show. We really appreciate all of your support. Thank you so much for listening.
River City Podcast Federation.